Hello, Seiiti Arata. I don't know you personally, but I can bet that you don't like it when other people try to control you. So why do you try to control others? Remember the golden rule, never do to others what you don't want others to do to you. When you try to control others, you are only contributing to your own unhappiness. Perhaps you think that it's just other people who are controlling and you are behaving like an angel. But let's be honest, if you are an employer, you would like your employees to behave in a different way. If you are an employee, you would like your boss to be different. If you're married, at some point in your life, you will run into some disagreement over wanting to control your spouse's behavior. You want to control your kids' behavior, or control your parents, or your friends, or your neighbors, your colleagues, or even people that you don't know. It is quite common in social media these days for people to go to speak to the general public saying things like, stop this has to end. Whomever does this has to be cancelled. And when we say that, deep down we are saying that it would be better if the whole world thought and acted the same way that we think and we act. Now, what does that mean? It is a sign that there is a belief in superiority, that the way I see things is the right way. If everyone behaves the way I want, I will be happy, and in addition to that, everyone else will be happy. It seems that I'm the owner of the truth, and people are stupid for not agreeing with me. In addition to wanting to control others, most of us also want to control results. We want to control the smallest details of our work, and this even has a name. It is micromanagement. In business, micromanagement is an approach whereby a manager closely observes and controls the work of their subordinates. And micromanagement has a negative connotation when it shows a lack of freedom in a workplace. The question is, why do we have such a strong desire to control the external environment? The search for control needs to be dosed correctly, to be proactive, but without exaggeration. The tendency to want to control people and control results has an explanation. It is the illusion of control that makes you feel better, both emotionally and physically. To some extent, the desire to control others and control results can be a good thing. Those who have a greater desire for control tend to have higher goals in life. They want to achieve great results and also end up achieving more, actually, as a result of all of that. Having some level of control over your actions and results has a positive side. For example, if you are in good control of your finances, or the food that you eat, or the tasks that you perform, then you can easily achieve goals like gaining financial independence, getting in shape, or just being more productive. On the other hand, we cannot exaggerate the search for control. We need to realize that we cannot control other people and results all the time. We need to find a sweet spot on how much control we should seek. Ignoring the healthy limits of seeking control can be detrimental to your levels of happiness. Wanting to control others is an inevitable plan for your own frustration. Nobody likes to feel controlled. Human beings have an enormous desire for autonomy and freedom. This means that we like to be in charge, or at least feel like we are in charge of our own actions and our own destiny. And what is a world-famous way to make a child obey you? It is giving the signs that you want him to do just the opposite. Reverse psychology has to do with a desire to show that we have autonomy and that we can do something that maybe we are not even allowed to do. Psychological reactance shows us that seeking control over others is not a very good idea if you want to be happy. When you try to control others, they will react against you. Take, for example, your attempt to control your husband or your wife by asking them to eat more healthily. This can have the opposite effect. There may be an increase in the consumption of unhealthy foods just to show you that you don't give them orders, making it very clear that they don't like to be controlled. And this is unfortunately a dynamic of rivalry. Power stress is the tendency to be angry and frustrated with others and not behaving the way we want them to. Basically, when you need power and control over others, you are creating an inevitable plan to have negative feelings, to feel anger, frustration, or disappointment when others are not behaving as you wish. As good as your intentions are, other people will never behave exactly the way you want. In fact, Even you won't behave the way your ideal self believes or thinks that you should behave. The way out of being frustrated with all of this is simply to give up the attachment to control. You can talk, advise, and even in some cases impose certain behaviors about your limits on others, but always be aware that this behavior is unlikely to happen the way you want, the way you expect. Different behaviors facilitate your decision making. Being a controller worsens the quality of the decisions that you make. We make our best decisions when we are exposed to a diverse set of views. That is why it is so important to surround yourself with people of diverse backgrounds and abilities and who also know how to communicate different opinions. This is how you have access to different points of view, and then you can use good reasoning to ponder and also make conscious choices. This is why also it is important to have people around who are not afraid to disagree with you, who are not afraid to express a sincere, independent opinion. When you are overly controlling others, chances are that you only have people around you who are not going to tell you what they really think. That is, people who either don't mind being controlled or who pretend to be controlled. People who only say yes in front of you and then criticize you behind your back. Or people who simply have no opinion because they don't care. They're not interested in thinking and giving you some type of opinion. When you are too controlling, you end up alienating those who have an independent mind and who could enrich your life. And then you surround yourself with people who tend to agree with you all the time. This means that when you are controlling too much, your decision-making is poorer. Think, for example, of a family gathering when everyone is quiet while the boring relative is ranting about his extremist opinions. Despite disagreeing or having a different opinion, everybody else just thinks it's more convenient to be quiet and let the boring person do his monologue and be teaching other people about the truth. What is the result? The boring person will never evolve. They will tend to get worse and worse. If your desire for control is too high, you become more superstitious in stressful situations. When you have a strong desire for control and you are stressed, you're more likely to believe in superstitions. For example, that heating wood will prevent having bad luck. Superstition is used as a way to compensate for lack of control. Superstitions make people believe that they have more control over a situation more than they actually do. And this can make people feel good at the moment, but it leads them to worse decision-making in the long run. Excessive control of results reduces your levels of happiness. A scientific study has shown that people who need control the most, they become uncomfortable and unhappy when the place where they are is overcrowded compared to people with little need for control. Why is that? It is because being in such an overcrowded space makes these people with a high need for control feel that life is not going according to what they would like. The more you try to control the world, the more unhappy you become. And this is because many things in life simply cannot be controlled. You may want silence in order to study, but there might be some loud party going on in your neighborhood. And then finally, when you change your mind and decide to stop studying to go to that party, it suddenly starts to rain. Given the uncertainty of life, it is obvious that you will only have frustration if you want to be controlling everything. Let's say that you want to take a vacation on the beach without having any type of problems, and in addition to that with sunshine every single day. Or you want to have a specific job in a specific industry located in this specific neighborhood of your city. Or if you want to have exactly 2 children, 1 boy and 1 girl. The chance of everything happening exactly the way you want is very low. These elements are beyond your control. Excessive control makes you unhappy because it is a guaranteed plan to be frustrated, and it also makes you angry, disappointed, and perhaps a little bit depressed when life does not go according to your plans. Wanting to control the results we achieve in life can be good when we do it proactively, when we take responsibility for our results. We need self-knowledge and also wisdom to realize when we are overreacting in this quest for control. We also need to understand the limits of what is out of control and learn to have acceptance, respect, and awareness. People who feel controlled can react, and this can cause unhappiness in our relationships. In other cases, We may suddenly be surrounded by fake people who pretend to agree with us in front of us but who despise us behind our backs. If you have been criticized more than once for being a kind of a controlling person, I invite you to rethink the way you behave through practical and effective exercises that we have in the happiness course. You can just visit arata.se/happiness, and together we'll carry out activities so that you can reach a balance between your desire for healthy control and also to avoid exaggeration. This restores the quality of your relationships and allow you to have greater peace of mind and happiness. Everything is a matter of knowing how to deal with things with reality in harmony.